you seeing the screen at all? Should be 135. To get through to YouTube. I worked on the social stream all weekend. Okay, so it's like a 20-second delay. For some reason, the chat isn't popping. I mean, the chat is popping up on the chat, but it's not popping up on the social screen. The chat. Darn it. Everything else is working except the chat. Again. I feel like Han Solo. Yes, I am coming through there. But for some reason the chat isn't popping up here, so 30 seconds. I know my mic is hot, but 20 seconds. Hello, hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome once again to the Dragon Movie Guy podcast. Welcome to the fall movie preview episode of the Dragon Movie Guy podcast. Thank you guys, thank you everyone for joining me either live in the live stream or on replay in the replay as it may be. I had intended to have the chat up and running on a pop-up basis, but the pop-up is not popping up. So we're not going to pop up the pop-up because the pop-up is not popping up. That makes sense. Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View is here. Thank you, Patrick, for joining us in the chat. Anyone who is joining us in the live chat, welcome. What movies are you looking forward to this fall from September? We're now in September all the way through to the end of December. It's not quite exact, but, you know, fall movies, Christmas movies, it's all rolled up into one here in the Dragon Movie Guy podcast. Joining me here is a friend of the channel, a regular guest, if you will, friend of the channel for the last several years, actually. I go on his channel, he comes on my channel. This time it's his chance to come on my channel. My guest today is a fellow YouTuber. He does a regular live stream weekly on his channel, JimAndRobOverAnalyzeMovies, looking at new movies, old movies, from a certain point of view and having a very specific deep dive into each of those said films. It's a lot of fun. Please welcome to the channel, to the Dragon Movie Guy podcast, Rob Kristjansson. Rob?
Hello, sir. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on and talking fall movies.
I'm going to give myself an air horn.
I love it. We love the sound effects, and you do come with a fully realized audio suite.
A full range
yes,
of audio of audio shit.
Yes, including the bleeps, which I appreciate, by the way. You could also...
Smart remarks aside, thank you so much for having me on. It has been too long since I've been even gone live. It's Jim and I basically took the whole summer off. And then you reached out and I'm like, yeah, I gotta get off my ASS. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta.
So thank you very much, TMG. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, and you're welcome, and thank you for coming on. And it's good to dust off the microphone and actually talk into it again. I took a 6-month hiatus a few months ago, and then right when I came back, you went on your hiatus. So we're kind of taking some time to take some time.
But now we're both here.
Yes.
Good fellows, well met again.
Yes, and thankfully September is here. So I love summer movie season. It is my favorite summer season. It is my favorite movie season of the year. But now we're in September, and the weather is finally starting to cool down here in Las Vegas, here in the desert. I hope it's not cooling down too fast up in Canada.
We've been doing okay. It's 19 Celsius right now. I went out to my local shop just before the live stream. They were closed for whatever insert expletive here reason. But it was nice. It was a nice evening. You know what? Yeah, we are looking. Winter really does start sometime in November for us. So, you know, any nice day now is just something to be enjoyed. It's something to be appreciated.
And that was sort of my sarcastic note back to you when you said, well, you said fall, not winter. So that was like, well, I thought in Canada winter started September 1st and goes until June 1st.
Yeah, no, I'm like, what are you talking about? December 25th. What fall is this?
Well, here in Vegas, that's fall. We get like 2 weeks of winter, and it's like failing to reach 60 degrees here. But enough about weather chat. We're not meteorologists. We are film critics. So what we're doing here today is
film critics,
movie lovers, cinephiles. We love talking movies, and we love talking about movies that are coming up in theaters in the next couple of months. A couple on streaming as well, because I kind of was stretching the definition. We do have a total of 20. We're doing top 11 lists. We're counting down from 11 down to 1, with 1 being our number ones being the number 1 most anticipated movies of the fall. So we're counting down. We do
have an overlap.
Yes,
overlap.
Yes. Surprisingly, we don't have that many the same. We have 1 that is overlapping this year, probably because I didn't describe fall and winter very well. I reached out, so I think what we have here is we have 2 really good lists of movies that I'm interested in pretty much every movie.
Range.
We have a lot of range
Yep.
on our list. So without further ado, we definitely want to thank Patrick for being here in the chat, and we're gonna jump in right off with our number 1 shoe with your number 1. We're gonna start with you. Your number 11 film is Venom: The Last Dance, or Venom 3.
That is correct.
Yes, Tom Hardy coming back. No, a couple of the cast changes though. Mrs. The head of
Michelle Williams did not make. Did not make. Well, I don't want to say the cut. I suspect her price was too high, and they're like, it's a third. What do we care?
Well, she was kind of underutilized in both the first couple
Juno
films.
Temple will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Juno Temple will be fine. Chiwetel Ejiofor plays a good second lead in Doctor Strange, so why not add him to this film? So tell me about Venom: The Last Dance, Venom 3.
You know what? Honestly, Brian, I like Tom Hardy, and I've always found these films fine. You know what? They're perfectly fine. I mean, they've not bothered me. They've not touched me in a bad place. They're perfectly fine films. Now, that said, I've already noted Michelle Williams. She was part of the charm of the earlier installments, such as they were. So I'm not expecting much either. The woman she wrote the previous 2 versions, the director, whose name is, bear with me. Where are we here? Sorry.
I have it here. The director is Kelly Marcel.
Thank you. But she is a first-time director. So while I think I'm not expecting much, I'll probably be fine with it. I got to admit, audiences will feel the same way, if not less. So while I'm kind of looking forward to it, I got to admit, there's a couple on your list where it's like, oh, I didn't look hard enough. I could have had that on my list, and this would have dropped off. Yeah, so I'm predicting actually it's going to get a below average IMDb score. It is, it's the sequel to the sequel of a character that no one's really that interested in. Yeah, I don't see this doing that well, but I'm still kind of looking forward to it. Like I said, I think it'll be fine.
I have Kelly Marcel's part of her IMDb page up on the screen. Because this is her directorial debut. I just took a screenshot of her writing credits, and it is sort of interesting because she was the screenwriter for Cruella. She was the screenwriter for Saving Mr. Banks, both of which are good films.
She's an A-list. Like, she's a legit feature film writer.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't question her chops, but still, first time is first time. First time in a big studio picture, I hope she makes the boss happy.
And I think, the first two Venom movies are, I think, it's a very generic and bland description. They are fine.
They're fine.
But that's what those movies are. They're fun.
Adequate.
But, they're sort of like Black Adam. They're sort of...
I'm not even sure. If memory serves, I'm not even sure. Maybe the first one did okay, ratings-wise.
Well, they both made money, which is the big thing with sequels and superhero films, and I'm okay with that. And, and of all the Sony movies that aren't Spider-Man,
dude,
I would say that
will make money.
Yeah. That's true too. But of the Sony Spider-Verse films that aren't Spider-Man, this is the Venom films are the only decent ones out there. So decent, fine. That's as nice as we're gonna get, I think, with these two films.
Oh, yeah.
I like the second one better than the first one because the first one spent too long trying to figure out how to say symbiote instead of symbiote. But when I see the trailers for this film, it kind of it's like, okay, so they're on the run. They're kind of it's not much of a story, but it is Tom Hardy.
Yeah, and like I said, he'll be fine. Like, he'll be better than fine. One of the few good things of the movie. He is one of the writers. Him and Ms. Marcel did co-write it. I mean, but I am not expecting much. And if it gets a below average, or what I call a below average, like below 6.2 in an IMDb rating, that's below average to me. I'll be like, yeah, no, that's what I predicted. That's what I expected.
So why
anything better than that? I'd be like, wow.
Yeah,
good for you.
I'm kind of the same way. So I guess if that's the question, if neither one of us have better than fine expectations for Venom: The Last Dance, how did this end up on your list? I mean, granted, it is number 11, but it is still on your list. There's a lot of movies coming out this fall.
Listen, there's always some that ends up on a list, especially when you got 11. Who the comes up with 11 for a list?
It's an odd number. It's more clickable.
It is an odd number. Honestly, I'm like kind of, I'd still see it. I'm still kind of interested. Again, I'm not expecting much, but I'm trying to weigh how I think it will do with most audiences versus, kind of thing I enjoy. But like I said, I'll wait until I've got 2 movies on your list highlighted on where it's like, oh, I should have picked that. But I'll wait until we get to that point on your list. Believe me, you're number 11. No. That was at the bottom of my list for a while. And then it's like, nope. Venom pushed it off the bottom.
So we're both kind of meh on Venom 3. It should be fun. It's probably not going to be earth shattering. Do you think it's going to be just more of the same of the first 2 Venom films?
Yeah. No, like again, the Tom Hardy's charm, but otherwise, I will not be surprised by anything. At no time will I be going, "Wow, I didn't see that coming," unless it's really terrible or really good. Like that, I'll be surprised if it's really good. But I expect I'm going to see the exact same thing I've seen in all these kind of movies, and I'll be fine with that.
You know, the weird thing is, too, is I love Tom Hardy. I like the character of Venom, but I don't know if Eddie Brock / Venom is a good fit for Tom Hardy. Do you think he's miscast in this role at all?
Yeah. Really, I have no opinion on that. And honestly, like, I mean, it's got to be really glaringly bad miscasting before I give a rat's you know what. I'm one of those guys where it's like, if no one ever talked about what is this good casting or is that bad casting or any of that, I'd be happy. I'd be like, great, less bull.
Well,
filling up the internet waves.
And honestly, too, I think the fact that we're even if you have to even ask about casting, there's something a little off. I think because as they say, 90% of directing is good casting. So the fact that we have an Oscar-nominated actor, we've had in the past we had Michelle Williams as an Oscar-winning actress in these films, and it doesn't seem to make a difference how good the actors are. It just kind of is very middling.
There is by the time a talent is cast, like so many other things are happening, right? That you're like, what does anyone expect out of the talent after, especially a big machine like DC, like any Marvel, any of these big franchise operations with whether it be Sony, Marvel, Paramount, DC, however their corporate configuration is, that is a huge machine with a ton of people with a lot of notes. I am one of those ones where I think Dakota Johnson is I think she's an but I also recognize she's got talent. She has skills. I saw Madam Web. I forced myself to watch the whole thing, and I felt bad for her because it's like she's got control over that kind of thing. She has nothing, nada, squat control, and she is the named star. So if we're talking about poor casting, there are already a bunch of problems.
Yeah, no, I
long
think
before that person came to, well, at least I'm getting paid.
And for whatever reason, that is just something that pops up in the Sony Spider-Verse, the Sony Marvel universe. It just, for some reason, there's something that's lost in translation, and I don't quite know what that is. If it's Amy Pascal, if it's just the process, if it's the studio itself.
So many people,
yeah.
So many, and honestly, I mean, this is something I've talked about before, but I think it bears repeating. It is hard to make a great movie. It's hard. Most movies are average. And the more people you get involved, the more, well, like a committee. This is why I don't know what, no real pro screenwriter is actually worried about AI, except how the employer is going to try and screw them out of money. But they're not going, oh, wow, yeah, the committee of committees will write good scripts.
Well,
it's hard enough when you get the committee think already. We see that in a lot of this generic mush. So, there you go. That's way on a wide tangent on what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't care about the casting.
It's always interesting, too, when you talk about someone's directorial debut, like with Kelly Marcel. They always say that if you can get a directorial debut in a sequel in an already existing franchise, that's a good soft landing way to get your PGA card. hope she brought her screenwriting talent to the script, and I hope she does well with this film.
She did that.
I
And I think for her, all she was really got to do is deliver the product the studio is expecting. Like all these big, just remember all the drama about Madam Web and how could they write these? How could they hire these writers, et cetera, et cetera? They've written so much crap before, and all. I like a lot of other people are like, you know what? They made the boss happy. That's why they kept getting hired.
This is true too.
They delivered the product the boss asked for. That who cares about?
And didn't make money. That's it is show business. It is the business part of show business. So
they kept the boss happy.
Yeah, is the boss happy?
And they knew after they let it go, it'll turn into something completely different. Movies are written 3 times: in the writing, in the production, and then in the edit suite. It's like, well. Yeah, I hope she does, because it's always nice to get a new voice, that she does well enough that she gets another shot at it. Yeah.
Are you planning to watch this in theaters when it comes out?
I maybe. that's a big maybe.
It's a very dedicated maybe.
But it's one of those movies where it's like it probably will look no better than in the theater. You know what I mean? Like there's some movies where I'm like, some movies on my, hey, that looks cool, but that can wait till streaming. This is, it's probably going to look its best in the theater, and it ain't getting better after.
Well, and
like that is its peak.
Even this screen cap of the CGI morphed over Tom Hardy's body. I'm hard on CGI, and this exact screen cap is an exact reason why. I think the CGI in general keeps getting, closer to the uncanny valley, but it hasn't crossed it yet. And when I see stuff like this screen capture, it just kind of goes to show, well, not everything can be Pixar, I think. So,
well, it's always a tough one, with that kind of thing. What do you do? Once you're starting to do these even more cartoony superhero characters, that's what you're going to get. Yeah. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am pointing at the monitor where your screen capture is. I should be doing it this way. I think it would look better. But again, it looks a little weird, but of course it's going to look a little weird. What do they say about, there's certain things that are already priced into the market has priced that in. I have priced this kind of CGI in. I'm not expecting any better.
And exactly. And it's, it is what it is. And ultimately, is it going to be fun? That's the big question. The first 2 films, first one was kind of Second film, I think, was more fun, a little too horror for me, but better than the first. And so hopefully this one, I think. This is one that I don't plan to watch this in theaters, even though, as you say, this is probably the best place, the best looking that it's going to be is in theaters.
Yeah.
But I definitely going to catch it on streaming at some point.
I did say maybe.
Maybe, yes.
Maybe.
The qualified maybe. It is interesting.
No, not a qualified maybe. A solid maybe.
A solid maybe. Made out of balsa wood.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
You mentioned 3 times, and my number 11 film, if you mention something 3 times, Michael Keaton will come back to a role that he did 40 years ago, 36, 40, mid-30s years ago. That was a heck of a transition. Beetlejuice. The movie's so nice they named it twice, kind of, sort of. I loved the first Beetlejuice film. For whatever reason...
As did I, you bet.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, indie westerns where people die aside, we're not getting Alec Baldwin back. Gina Davis is now over 40, so she's unemployable in Hollywood. So So we have Winona Ryder back. We have Jenna Ortega showing up as Winona Ryder's daughter. And we have Tim Burton back in the director's chair. You know, I like Tim Burton. I want to love Tim Burton, but I do love this Tim Burton film. I love that they went practical effects. And yeah, there is some CGI here, but it looks like they're recapturing the tone and the feeling from the first film. What's that?
There's always CGI.
Yeah, I mean,
every film has it. But
yeah.
you're absolutely right. It does have a practical effects vibe, you know?
Yeah, and it just, you know, when you have as much practical effects as you can, like the first film did back in the 80s, back in 86, 88, whenever the first one was, you know, I think it looks better because there's more of an organic feel to it. Even if you can tell, yeah, it's just a puppet on strings, there's something that beats that over.
That's stop motion.
Yeah, stop motion, all the old tricks that have been kind of slowly lost
stop
time
motion,
in CGI.
Claymation, like some of the things Burton likes to do.
Yeah,
you know, he's familiar with, knows how to make it work.
So, you know, the interesting thing too is we're not getting the Alec Baldwin and Gene Davis characters coming back. I do like the aspect of, you know, it's been 30, 35 years. So we're getting Winona Ryder's daughter as Jenna Ortega. What are your thoughts on Jenna Ortega coming to the Beetlejuice franchise?
Good. Here, let me talk out the other side of my ASS. Great casting choice. You know what? I get the gag. You know, it didn't poke me in the eye when I watched the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. You know, beyond that, again, beyond that, didn't care. You know, it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I get why they cast her. You know, I don't know if they were even thinking of it. Like, it takes so long to make these movies, you know, but there's some fortuitous timing here. This comes out where there's probably still people are thinking of her in that Wednesday thing that, you know, on Netflix.
Tim Burton directed the pilot episode.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's got, you get the gag, you get it. Beyond that, it'll really come down to, all right, does this work? Because she's playing the, you know, whereas the Wednesday character is she's the creepy outsider. Now I just want to be a normal girl and everyone thinks I'm creepy. Well, I don't know, you live in the weirdo house with your creepy ass mother.
Yeah, it is interesting too that, of course, the spiritual one from the first film in Winona Ryder now is the mother of the non-believing character, Wednesday Addams, or, you know, I don't even know what her character name is in this film, but I do love what the effects look like they're doing. I do love what they try to do with the Wednesday character in the Wednesday streaming show. It looks honestly like they just kind of wanted to have an excuse to reuse the private school outfits from season 1 of Wednesday and just put them into another feature film and get some mileage out of it. And, you know, it's Jenna Ortega and an outfit, so why not? You know, interesting here, Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View says, Winona Ryder looks older than Michael Keaton. You know, I think she...
Oh, come on, man.
You know,
Don't do that to Winona.
Well, you know, I think she's older than Michael Keaton was in the original film. But, you know, it's been 30 years. It's been 30... It is, you know, and even with Hollywood math, and, you know, Hollywood math is always actual age minus 10 or minus 20 in some cases. Yeah, that's tough.
Honestly, like,
as long as she's not shoplifting from the set, I think we're okay. We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, you know what? It really isn't relevant to the gag, or maybe it even supports the gag better. You know, she looks like the mother. You know, had kid a little later in life, like a lot of Gen X parents did, and so yeah. got this whiny, late-aged teenager.
Who herself is 23-ish in real life. So, everyone is kind of aged down a little bit in Hollywood. And I think the other thing that I really like here is bringing Catherine O'Hara back as Winona Ryder's mom. That's a nice touch. And, it's always
Mother
good to see
Dietz.
Catherine O'Hara. Yeah, Lydia Dietz, yes.
Yeah.
I love, I love that first film. And is this film going to be as good? Probably not, because let's be honest. Beetlejuice itself, the first film, is a classic. There's a reason why it's lasted this long. I always say, though, I worry about any sort of comedy sequel that takes longer than 10 years to do. And this one took 30 some odd years. And yeah, I guess it's a sci-fi horror comedy, but it is still a comedy first and foremost. It's not horror first, it is comedy first. So that part of it really does worry me, as much as Anchorman 2, as much as Zoolander 2, as much as Dumb and Dumber. This kind of, it's different than those films, but it is still a comedy. So that part worries me a lot. That's why it's number 11 on the list and not higher. I am though planning to be there opening day, hopefully. So fingers crossed. Yeah, are you planning to watch this one?
Why not? You know what? Somebody said, "Hey, we're going to this." I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to that. Myself, it really was the dueling. How uninterested. You've got 2 unasked for sequels. No one was asking for Beetlejuice sequels, and nor though was there great clamoring after the disappointment that was the second Venom movie. Everyone going, I want more of this. No one was saying that. So, I mean, it really came down to, I'm really uninterested in going back 30 years. And when I saw the trailer, although you see some neat gags, I was like, you know what? It'll be average. That's what people think. Tim Burton is not at the top of his game, hasn't been for a number of films. And I don't see this, going, I see this as, I want a paycheck.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Oh, that might be a little harsh. I just don't think Tim Burton has made a really special film in a number of years. And sequels usually aren't where you go, okay, finally, I'm going to let loose. Even Wednesday, an entertaining young adult, TV series. I don't think you're like, wow, it's not even chaos, but it's certainly no Maniac. It's no, what was that other TV series I was just like kind of blown away by? Now I can't think of it.
Well,
anyway,
I had a screen cap. I tried loading it. I think I accidentally loaded the script twice, but I had a screen capture of Tim Burton's recent directorial gigs, and really, other than Wednesday, there's nothing on Tim Burton's IMDb that really stands out to me. Any sort of oh my god. Hopefully, we'll get Rob back here in a second. Okay, so it is kind of showing up there. My apologies, folks, for anyone still watching. I'm going to. This one. No. No. not showing up. That's not showing up. Rob, I'm not seeing you in the studio. I think this is, for some reason you're not showing up in my studio. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reboot my computer. So this part of the live stream itself proper is going to end right now. I'm going to try and restart it here in a second. Hopefully we can get the stream back up and running in a new stream. It's not ideal, but I'm going to reboot my computer and try this get one more time and try and get Rob back, and we can continue the live stream. Yes, so anyone watching right now, Patrick, thank you for watching right now. I'm going to reboot, and hopefully we can start a new live stream with my technical difficulties fixed. So thank you, everybody, and I'm going to end this right now as of right now.